Good morning and welcome to the Denton Insider. We are here to advocate, educate, and collaborate on behalf of the Denton business community. My name is Randy Skinner. I am one of your hosts and I serve on the Denton Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and as a member, I represent RS Consulting. And with me is your host, Heather.
Hi, I am Heather. I'm the director at Stoke, Denton's co-working space, and we are partners with and members of the chamber. So we are excited today. We're going to be talking a little bit later to our guest, Julie James, who is a member at Stoke, and she is an entrepreneur, and she is a professor at UNT. She wears very many hats, and we're really excited to get to talk to her a little bit later today.
It's going to be a good segment.
Yeah.
So as we're moving through, we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors for this past month, Chrissy Maloof, Denton Realtor, Access Bank, as well as Tim Smith with Modern Woodman. Thank you all for supporting the Chamber and supporting the Denton Insider. If you are interested in sponsoring one of our upcoming segments, and let me tell you, we've got some really good programs happening, so it'd be good time. September would be a good month. Give a shout out to denton-chamber.org and contact the office, and they'll get you all set up. So since we're on the topic of the chamber, it seems only fitting that we'll go ahead and give you the chamber scoop. And Heather, I didn't even tell you what the chamber scoop was.
I'm really excited to hear.
Yeah. Okay, so I have one oldie and one newbie. So our oldie is, and we've talked about this a little bit already, but this month, every single Wednesday, you can tune in to the Denton Chamber Facebook Live for a candidate forum. So, I mean, I feel like there's always so many different options when it comes to forums and figuring out where to go. Yeah.
I don't know if that's happening this year, really, right? Like, I think that the chamber is really leading the charge. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you can just tune in whenever it works for you, like even if you don't want to do the live version, it's like you can just lay back on your couch, flip on a little Parks and Rec in the background. That's just me.
And then get you in like the civic-minded mood, right?
Exactly. You got to get the right mindset. Yeah. So be sure to at least catch one or two of them this month on Wednesday mornings. And my other update I have for you, I've got a scoop on a nonprofit member. So CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates, they support children in our community who are victims of abuse. They have their signature event coming up on the 18th. So I want to tell it, so it's the Pooling for Kids clay shoot. So, I mean, they do this every year, and I'm sure that some things look a little bit different, and they're taking some safety precautions, but there's tons of ways that you can support them. So if you want to learn more about either one of these events, head over to denton-chamber.org, click on the events button, and you'll be able to see these and so much more. So definitely go out and support CASA.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, that sounds like a great event. Outside, nice weather.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're Texas, shoot a few clays, right? Test your skills.
Exactly. Cool. Well, thanks for the scoop, Randy.
You got it. Now over to you, Heather.
Yeah. So I am so excited to introduce Julie James. She is a senior lecturer at the Mayborn School of Journalism at UNT. She is a co-founder of an education technology startup called Playable Media. She is a mom. She is an Army vet. She is, wears so many hats. She is a member of Stoke. Julie, I guess I met you right at the very beginning of my time here at Stoke.
Yeah, I think so.
We've known each other for like 3.5 years. So I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thanks. I'm really glad to be here today too, Heather. Thanks for having me. Playable Media, our background is in game design, educational game design, online learning, and today we create engaging online learning for businesses that want to increase their credibility and connect with their employees, connect with customers, and reach new audiences using this format. So if that's y'all, get in touch with Playable Media. Let me put that out there. You can find us at playablemedia.io. Yeah, and so that's what we've been doing.
So like in terms of COVID times, like has that been really good for business or for people looking for the kind of resources and support that you provide?
Well, in fact, COVID is what spurred us to focus so much more heavily on the online learning and curriculum design than we had in the past. We were doing learning games and educational games for, for adult learners, higher education, and we had been focusing on that and really wanted to continue doing that. And then COVID hit. People are just not making games right now. Nobody has the budget for that kind of thing. Necessarily, right?
Which is funny because they're being played. I feel like they're being played a lot, but not
right.
No new ones are getting made.
Right. And we also had a specific space that we were of service to, right? So we were looking at higher education nonprofits and media organizations, journalism organizations. So that's hard enough in good times to find budgets for novel things. And in COVID, that's not, they're going to stay afloat. They're going to meet their missions. Journalists are really busy keeping us informed with what's going on. And so it's not necessarily like new project time in the way that Playable Media offers. But what happened was we started to talk about growing our online learning and curriculum design offering. And we had partnered with an organization who is an international organization for environmental journalism around the world. And they wanted to do a training for journalists around the world to better understand zoonotic disease. So we started, we're working with them right now, and that's going really well. And so we've had other small businesses, entrepreneurs, different people sort of get in touch with us for how to do that more, because everybody suddenly has had to shift to how do we connect with people online? How do I deliver that workshop to keep my employees' skills up to date that I cannot do in person now when they're all in the office with me? And so that's the kind of service that we want to provide because, in the spring, everybody like ran to push everything they could online, and we had to meet the moment. And that makes a lot of sense. As the summer developed, we realized like, oh, life is not going back to look like what it looked like before. We're in this for the long haul, and online learning was growing and it's not going anywhere anyway. Mm-hmm. So if your organization kind of started just pushing all this content online, but now you want to look back and be really strategic about the content you have and how do you design it specifically for your purpose, then that's where we come in, because you don't necessarily have the time to do that as a small business owner, right? And larger businesses have like enterprise solutions that they may already have contracts with those organizations. So for us, it's about helping an entrepreneur, a small business, somebody with a new idea, to either help them craft that content and put it online or support them being able to do it for themselves. So one of the things I like to say is like online learning is not hard to create, but good online learning takes intention. And so that's where Playable Media comes in, because we know that your organization can put out that good online learning to connect with people, and we want to help them do that.
Is it like that they have the entrepreneur itself or the business has their area of expertise, mm-hmm. that they know how to teach? Mm-hmm. It's just the platform, the software, mm-hmm. the delivery, like mm-hmm. how to actually produce the thing. That's kind of how you're helping.
Yes, we are full service. So we do the curriculum design, or we can just take your content and put it online depending on where you're at with that. But yeah, the business, the entrepreneur, or the person out there looking for us is an expert in their space, mm-hmm. And we're former journalists and a learning scientist who are super interested in always learning new things. Mm-hmm. So we want to jump into that content with you and then develop, definitely talk about like you were saying, like what's the technology that's right for this? What can you afford to do? There are really affordable solutions, some at $0, using your existing resources, or we can go like all the way to the full service side, so it's kind of like wherever you're at, we can help you put that thing out there that so well that other people are looking for, and we can help you put that out there in a way that's really engaging.
I think it's really an interesting perspective that you would bring for a business, because not only are you helping to guide them to accomplish, this transition, you kind of did it yourself, right? Like over these past few months. So, I think sometimes it's easy to be kind of out of touch from where your client or your customer is, but you're able to come in as like, no, we just get it. We get it. So
we do it every year.
Insight that you would provide just someone that is in the midst of a similar transition as you, like where you've gone from, what you were doing to what you realize you need to do or the opportunity is? What's some insight that you would provide to businesses that are currently kind of in that movement?
Small chunks, right? Even when we started we created, a game design curriculum. And so we started putting workshops out there and doing some online content for educators in the K through 12 space to get started using games in their classroom, doing games for remote learning, all of that kind of stuff. So, but we are like this full service, big picture. We love that. And then we also love to get down in the weeds and sort of do the design work and all that sort of thing, except we don't need to go from start to finish on a full project, right? Like that's not the kind of training an educator needs. So a lot of times you're out there, you're an expert in this space, it from, from level 0 to level 10, but that's not what your online course has to look like, right? And so small chunks are more effective for learners. It keeps them from being overwhelmed, especially in learning online. There's so much media coming at you. And I could really, go there with talking about like what the brain can handle, but keeping it simple and keeping it smaller than you think. Like if you have something that you threw online, look at how you might be able to divide that into 2 or 3 courses, right? Because a lot of times we just pushed it out there, and again, that makes sense when you're meeting the moment the way that we had to do in the spring. But just breaking something up, like a big learning journey, up into 3 smaller journeys is going to make the content that you're delivering more effective.
I feel like it really, as a marketer, it just really hones into the importance of knowing your target audience. And it's not really about what you think they need to know. It's what they want to know and how they want to know it. It's like sometimes we come at it as like, they need to know all of these things all at once, or they're going to miss out, which is exciting. But I love your advice of like breaking it down into chunks and like thinking about separate journeys. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like the stepping stone. So I'm gonna take that back. That's my piece of advice I'm taking from you today, because I need to get better at bite-sized stuff for myself and my clients.
I'm happy to help. And an additional thing on there, like what you were talking about, what does your audience want to know, and what do you think that everybody needs to know? Because again, our spaces are so interesting for us. And it's not that they're not interesting for our audience, but what somebody needs to walk away with just to move forward in any given moment, like you're saying, doesn't need to look like that. So one of the things that helps me when I'm getting started with designing content for a client is looking at like, what's the goal? If a client is going to walk away after this, what's the thing that they want to be able to do, right? And then I can design the learning just to that one specific goal, right? And that helps a lot to break it down into chunks. So if you're looking at that giant course, even that medium-sized course, right? Like it's probably too big. You could divide that up into 3 goals. And then that helps you see sort of how you can break that up.
That's smart. That's smart. Do you find that like people always have a clear idea of what it is that they want to know, or that like is the ultimate goal, or is there like troubleshooting and problem solving that you have to do to kind of really clarify again that like what they want to be able to deliver versus like what their customer actually is needing?
It usually takes some discovery, like it did for us when we were like, let's put game design content like for educators online. Like, let's just teach them all about game design. But what does an educator really want, right? She wants to have an activity she can do with her class that she can match to a standard that she happens to be teaching in any moment. So those two things don't look the same, but that's what she needs. So this sounds nifty. She might even be interested, but given who she is and the demands on her time and what she needs to do in a classroom, the solution looks really different, right? So even from our experience, it takes like dialing it back and looking at what is somebody looking for right now and how can I give that to them fairly quickly, right? In 3 to 5 lessons, or a 45-minute micro course, or a 3-hour learning experience, but still that they can complete on their own time. All of those sorts of things kind of come into play, and it usually takes some discovery on that side.
Yeah. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit, because as we, people may or may not know, but Stoke just launched a really exciting program. Applications are now open for an incubator program, a startup incubator. We're doing it in partnership with the Texas Women's University Center for Women Entrepreneurs. And so together, that partnership, we're kind of providing this program. And I know that for you, you took another one of your startups through an accelerator program. And so I'm just curious, could you talk a little bit about your experience in that and kind of what you got from what were your takeaways from that?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bust in real quick. Will y'all, like, for the folks that are listening that maybe this is a new conversation for them, will you define like what an accelerator, an incubator, kind of define those terms, because they are terminology that aren't common knowledge if you haven't gone into that world.
True.
Sorry, Julie.
That's very
brainstorm your answer first.
That's very, very true. So, like in the research that I've done and the experience that I have gained, basically an incubator is for an earlier stage company. Mm-hmm. They're maybe even, they're very early. There's an idea, but there may not be a whole lot more than that. And then the incubator program provides education, mentorship, guidance, connections to basically get them ready to hit some major goals. Maybe that's an MVP, which stands for, in the startup world, minimally viable product. So, what is the very first, most basic iteration of what you can create? So it's kind of setting some of those very initial milestones for a startup. Typically, I think in an incubator, there's no exchange of investment for equity. It's really about the support and the programming. Our program, I will say, is a little confusing, and because it is an incubator program, there's no exchange of equity and investment. But we were kind of going on the theme of some of the other TW programs. So they had a relief, a grant at the beginning of COVID called Assist Her. They have kind of some other things where they kind of put her at the end. And our initial idea of Incubate Her just seemed to nod to the wrong thing. So we named it technically something that alludes to the accelerator. Anyway, that's the difference. And we're doing an incubator with them.
I love it. And okay, so anybody can apply, right? And Julie, I know you're going to tell us about your experience so that folks can kind of know what to expect. But I mean, it's open to anyone in the community.
Female. It's
anyone,
open,
right?
Yeah, it's open to any female entrepreneurs. And kind of the main things that we're looking for are that they have some tie to Denton, that they're going to be able to grow, hire, have an impact on the culture and economy of Denton. And also that there's some scalability to the idea. It's more for something that has a growth path as opposed to a solopreneur that's just looking to stay a solopreneur.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and I would say, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my experiences. So hopefully that will give women out there who are listening to this a better idea of what it looks like. Um, but just being around Stoke and just being a member at Stoke, I mean, like Stoke was big in my decision to move Playable Media, which was an Arizona-based business, to Denton. And so our business is based out of Denton, though working remote right now from home, because outside of accelerator programs and that kind of thing for day-to-day work, Stoke is a super supportive space that will connect you with people for new ideas, connect you with people that are going to help you carry out your projects. And if you are that solo person or that small business, it just gives you people to be around who are doing similar things. So there's that community piece. I just want to put that plug in there for Stoke because I love Stoke. And excuse me, of course. Sorry, excuse me. But yeah, so I have two kind of experiences actually with accelerator / incubator kind of programs. Actually, Playable Media very early on, what spurred us to form it into a company from a sort of a project that my partners and I like to work on, was we were able to get a prototype fund grant that helped us build our first software. And so it was a 6-month grant. And like you were saying, Heather, there's that incubation component where you just get connected to what you need to sort of grow your business a little bit, but also the accelerator component in that we didn't have the funds to move our software forward so quickly without, getting access to that money. So that, sort of combine those two things. And then we were able to take our software idea and the testing that we had done up to that to validate that idea and actually build and release a prototype of that into the world. So, but then more recently, I was a part of a company called Wildcards, which was STEM electronics for early learners, like the primary grades. And empowering their teachers to help bring that STEM experience into the classroom. So it was the AT&T Aspire Accelerator, and we were, it's 2019, right? We were in it's 2020. We were in the 2019 cohort. And Wildcards was a pretty early stage startup, but they did have an MVP product when I joined the company, and we got into the Aspire program. So Aspire usually invests, and this is one with the equity negotiation that you were talking about, Heather, and Aspire usually will bring in companies that are in a little bit later stage. And we happened to apply at the time when they wanted to do more experimentation and thought, let's go look at earlier stage companies and see what can happen. And again, it was a 6-month program. And again, it was about taking that business idea that we had and moving it forward in 6 months in a way that may have taken us years without the support that AT&T gave us. So there was funding, but you and I have talked about this a lot, Heather. It was the experience of that program and the people that it connected to and the support and feedback that we got for our business, and and the mentors that just sort of cheered us on along the way in that 6 months, that really was the most valuable part of that experience for me. You can't put dollars on that when you're in a space that is so committed to helping you as an entrepreneur grow this idea, and they believe in you and are willing to let you discover and pivot and those sorts of things like that. The accelerator program, as Stoke is giving it, is going to take and do that for women businesses in Denton, right? And again, you can't put dollars on that connection. So, so the fact that there's no fee to even be a part of it, it's right there in Denton, and it's about supporting the Denton community, like all of those things, and your business is going to become even more enmeshed in such a positive space. I can only imagine that what somebody's business out there, what they have to offer as well as what Denton has to offer coming together can only be magic, right? Like, it has been magic, like I said, just for Playable Media to be members at Stoke. So, yeah, I know that the mentorship that Stoke will provide in partnership with TWU and the support and the connections that you're all going to make for women businesses. If you're a woman and you're a business, have I said this part? And you're in Denton, or you want to run your business in Denton, apply. Just apply. Just do it, right? The application, as I understand it, it's not super intensive. If you have any kind of business plan or write-up of your business or idea already, you could probably do a lot of cut and pasting, like it does not take that long. So you have nothing to lose, right? Because you're going to do this, you're going to click send, and you're either in or you're not. And it doesn't, right? Nobody's going to come back and move you behind in your business. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We really tried to make, especially for this kind of pilot program where we're experimenting, we're learning, we've done, something I think that's different about this program versus what Stoke does on a day-to-day basis. All of the lunch and learns, all of the mentor sessions, we do all of this. We've built these networks of people, but for all of our members and for the community as a whole, it's take it or leave it. Whereas in this program, it's really, it's going to be not intensive, but we're seeking a commitment for people to really show up and to participate to get the full benefits. But we really want to make that barrier to entry really low. We didn't want the application to be overwhelming. And since we are taking such really early stage companies, there might not be any pro formas. We're going to teach you what a pro forma is and how to build one. You don't have to have any dollars at this point dedicated for your business. We are going to talk about the difference between bootstrapping and getting grants and, raising funds and figuring out what might be the right type of funding for a business, and then try to help them get them ready for what it is that they need. So yeah, it's awesome to hear you talk about your experience here at Stoke. And I will also say, something that I really find amazing about you is you take on both sides, right? Like you are a member and you take advantage of the resources that we have, but you also are one of the resources, you teach lunch and learns here and you provide mentorship. And I'm just curious, what is it for you? What is that to you? Kind of the mentorship, even just knowing the benefits, having had mentors in the past, serving as a mentor. I think people always wonder, is a mentor going to want money? Are they going to want equity to kind of talk to me? So can you talk just a little bit about your experience having mentors, being a mentor, what that's been like?
Absolutely. If my mentors had wanted money, I would have gotten nowhere. Yeah. So that is absolutely not what it is for me. But I am a service-oriented person, right? So I kind of have that aspect of my personality, and I want to contribute to the spaces that make my life or my business better. So I'm not here just for the taking. There are times when we're working on our businesses and our projects and our ideas that's what we need to do. We need to focus and we need to see who can help, right? I have come to a place where I have that, and I feel like I have experience. I can offer it, right? I can be a sounding board. I can just, give you some feedback. I can tell you what we did on a thing that maybe will benefit you in some way on your thing. And that's what the mentors I have had have done for me. They just were willing to give me a little bit of time and feedback and cheer me on, or even be hard on me, right? When I needed to hear something wasn't a great idea, that kind of stuff. And that's just as valuable as the cheering, right? To also shoot down the stuff that might be nifty, but might not be the right thing for you to be doing. Because we all have great ideas. Like I have ideas all the time, and I really have learned not to act on all of them. But it's taken those mentors to say, right, well, what's your goal? How does that contribute to it? And I can't see that from inside, right? I need that from outside. So that's been so valuable. My mentors have turned into really good friends to business partners. My partner today, her name is Retha Hill, and she's an educator at Arizona State University. She's an entrepreneur. She's a former journalist. Like, she's who I want to be when I grow up. And we started working on stuff together. She was kind of mentoring me and showing the ropes as a woman, showing me the ropes as a woman in technology. And then, ta-da, it turned into let's be business partners. And I was like, what? You want to work with me? And it was super cool. Like it came together in like that magical way. So what it takes is like being willing to put yourself out there and ask for help. And sometimes you don't even have to know who you're asking for, right? You can walk into Stoke and say, what's marketing? And they're going to tell you, talk to Randy, right? They're going to tell you, like, look at this thing. And, you know, and it's not that Stoke's the marketing experts. It's that you're willing to go and they have a space where they're connected to so many people that they can point you in that direction. And then, you know, maybe you end up with a mentor out of that. Maybe you end up with some good ideas. And this is about, it's not about a long-term relationship necessarily. Sometimes it's about getting some mentorship in a 30-minute coffee chat, right? And sometimes it turns into sort of an ongoing relationship. Can I check back in with you kind of thing? So it's cool to let it be organic. It takes being willing to be a little bit vulnerable. And then on the other side, you know, because I've been that woman and I've seen other women support women, and it, again, the service oriented part of my personality, I don't feel like I can go without contributing when it's my time to contribute, right? I didn't have that when I was young, and I saw all these people doing this like in my 20s or in my 30s when I was having babies, you know, like, and I didn't have that kind of time available. I didn't have this experience of building software and accelerator program and being part of accelerator programs. I was in the thick of it. But now I'm like, oh, I don't have to be like, oh, I missed out on giving back to my community for 20 years. No, now I'm at that place where it's appropriate, right? And so that's kind of like what drives me in that way.
This program, well, first of all, thank you so much that's so encouraging, right? Of just asking for help, coming where you are. You don't have to have it figured out, and just taking advantage of the resources that we have here in Denton. And I just keep thinking, what perfect timing for this program to roll out. I mean, I feel like we've all been a little more cooped up than normal, and maybe even been watching, I don't know, I'm a big Shark Tank fan. And so like every time I watch it, I'm like, I've got an idea. And so for those of us that maybe have been, you know, thinking of this great idea or just, you know, playing around with a new opportunity, I love, Heather, that you said you can just come with an idea. You don't have to come with all of the details. You don't have to come with the marketing plan, the pro forma, you know, how you're going to do it. That's what those mentors are there for. And as a women business owner, to know that it's just as simple as filling out an application for the opportunity. I mean, I'm like going to call out anybody that's been sitting out there that has that idea. Go for it. Be bold. Like, this is the time. I mean, and it doesn't have to be $1 million idea, right? It can be the idea that sets you on like your mission or your purpose, and, you know, finding that balance, which, you know, quality of life is, and feeling fulfilled is, you know, the rest will come. But I'm excited.
That's a good point, Randy, about the $1 million idea, because that's not what the majority of businesses in the United States look like. That's not the goal, right? Mm-hmm. If Playable Media sells some software, cool. But our goal is to grow this business and be of service in the Denton community, right? And we want to build technology, right? And we want to put it out there, and we want to help people with it. So we're always going to do that. But the thing that I want to say is, it does not need to be $1 million idea goal. You know, in ed tech, it's just not gonna be, right? That's what we do. So making it big in ed tech does not look like what making it big in other spaces looks like. But regardless, you know, as women, we don't even need to have that goal. You You just need to have your idea and a passion for it and be willing to put it out there. And I think that the other thing to remember is if it doesn't get accepted, it might just be because now you're that much closer to the next idea, right? Keep going. Walk into Stoke anyway and ask, like I said, ask for help. There's so much free with Stoke that you don't even have to be a member for to get access to. So,
Stoke in this program is such a great opportunity, but I know the spots are limited. If you're bold enough to take that step with your idea, and if you don't get accepted, it's okay. Like you said, Julie, come into Stoke, connect with the chamber and our small business administration. There's so many resources here in Denton to help you get that ball rolling. This just sounds like a really great structured opportunity. Specifically for women entrepreneurs. So,
and it's close to home. I'm stoked. Yes, I'm stoked about Stoke. If you couldn't tell, and it's close to home.
I think every other podcast because it's just too easy.
Because there are so many programs out there, even for women businesses, but they might not be close to home. If AT&T happened to be a remote accelerator, and if it was not, I wouldn't have been able to participate. Right. And so just the fact that also Stoke is close to home, it's just worth applying to see because we don't always get that. Even something that might be in Dallas would be prohibitive, right, for a local woman business, just the logistics of getting there. And so that's the other thing is that this is right here.
Well, where do we go to apply?
Well, you go to our website, stokedenton.com. The slug for the page is pretty long. But if you go to stokedenton.com, and then just go, I'm like navigating there now so I can give really clear, instructions. So stokedenton.com, and then there is a tab in the main navigation that's what we do, and then you'll see the Accelerate Her page right there. And so that'll link you to the application. We're also pushing it out on social media, and so is TWU, and some of our other great partners like the Chamber are sharing it out. So but that our website will get you straight to the application, and it's open until 5 p.m. on September 14th. That's when the application closes, and then the turnaround is pretty quick. We're going to let people know within the week, and then October 1 is when the content really starts coming out. So
that's so exciting.
Yeah. Well, there's time. You still got time. If you don't have the idea now, you got time to come up with one, right?
If you have an idea, where to go find the application.
Right. So stokedenton.com and you'll get set up and can apply. And you said it's just women entrepreneurs and connection to Denton are kind of the two primary needs.
Yep. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. What
didn't we cover about the program? I mean, I feel like we've touched on so much.
Yeah, I think that's really it. I just kind of want to echo one thing that you just kind of said, Randy, in this moment, it's a very strange time, right? Life has changed. And I think at the same time, maybe people's priorities have changed or what they want, the quality of life, the balance, Julie, you mentioned that. So I think that, we're in an uncomfortable time in a lot of ways, but I think that growth comes from that discomfort. And so I think that, again, I'm just going to say I know you're out there. I know that there are women out there that are going I can't, I don't know how, I shouldn't. You can, you don't have to know how, and you should.
Agreed.
That's simple. I love it.
Definitely. The piece
Somebody needed to hear that. Somebody needed to hear that today.
Yeah. Maybe me.
Well, I am so glad, Julie, that you came on and just like sharing ways that people can pivot into the online course and education, sharing about your experience, and just telling us more about the incubator opportunity. I mean, I think that, y'all, if nothing else, you probably should just connect with Julie to pick her brain because of how many
knows where to find me. And I'm happy to talk to you about just about anything, and if you have that idea that you want to apply for and you need someone to tell you like you should and you can, I'm here. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about like, how do I make some online learning because I can't afford to hire somebody, or if you want to talk about, I don't have the time because I'm working on my business, so I am looking for hiring somebody to help me with XYZ. We pride ourselves on being affordable and, effective, and we just want to help you connect with your goals in your business. And if there's ways that online learning can help you do that, that's what Playable Media is here for.
Tell us where to contact you again.
So our website is playablemedia.io, and you can shoot me an email at Julie, Juli, at playablemedia.io. There's no E. So that happens in my name. And so if it goes to Julie, I may not get it, but it's Julie, Juli, at playablemedia.io.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like our viewers have some work to do coming up with that idea and heading over to Stoke.
Yes. My thing is like bombard Stoke with applications. Make it so they're going to have to work that entire week to really like narrow it down. Let's make it hard for them to choose. Just put your ideas out there.
Love it. Well, thanks again, Julie. So we've had a pretty epic program today. And if you have an idea for a segment, topic, or if you want to sponsor one of our upcoming segments, head over to denton-chamber.org, contact the Denton Chamber office, and they'll get you all set up to be featured on the Denton Insider. Heather, what do we have coming up?
Yeah, so next week we get to sit down and talk to Glenn Ferris from Vera's Real Estate, and he's going to give us kind of his commercial real estate insider perspective, trends, things he's seeing maybe happening downtown. Again, we kind of keep coming back to this idea of pivoting. So, our business is like, what is that going to look like in terms of a storefront perspective? So we're going to kind of get the real estate scoop from Glenn next week.
Sounds like it's kind of like outside the box commercial real estate. Like, what are we going to get? What are some predictions?
Yeah. Predictions, trends. Yeah, it's going to be a good conversation. So tune in next week to the Denton Insider.
See y'all next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. Now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton.
Hey everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, DentonRadio.com has soft launched a new website and brand. We'd love for you to go and check out the new look, but we also want to walk you through the new website and all the features you can see. So the main thing that we're most excited about is we have this video feed right at the top of the page that's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week video feed of different Denton performances. Now these are past recordings that we've done here at Denton Radio. We also have some awesome recordings coming at us from Tiny Couch Productions. Thank you, Tiny Couch. If you haven't checked out Tiny Couch, you've got to go see those guys. So 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week feed, and what we're dedicated to as an organization is going forward, we're going to be trying to be inside different Denton venues as much as possible. So we're going to be going to Dan's and Rubber Gloves and Andy's and LSA and recording the shows while they're happening and putting them right here. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're going to have a true window into the Denton music scene. So it's going to be really, really cool. Now just beneath that, we have the This Week in Denton section. And what you can do is scroll through and see all the shows that are happening in Denton that week. and then you can listen to the different songs from the different artists that are playing those shows. And then when you click the green button underneath it, it's going to take you right to discoverdenton.com's calendar page for that show. So you're going to get all the info on where, what, who, how, all that good stuff. And we'll be changing this out every single week. So you're going to have a full section of all the shows that are happening and everybody that's playing where you can go listen to them and check it out. We also still have our podcasts on this page. Everything that we were doing before is still here, but all these new fun features are coming at you. More features as well to come as we get further and further into this soft launch. And whenever we can start booking shows again and everybody's kind of back to normal, we're going to have a really awesome big launch party and we'll get the final product out there. And we're super, super excited about it. So thank you guys so much for checking it out. Go see it all at dentonradio.com.